Have you ever wondered what happens to newspapers that don't get sold? Like, really, not every copy gets picked up, right? So what? They just throw them away? Poof, gone? That's it? Do they just vanish? Burned in some top-secret newspaper ritual behind a supermarket? Or wait a minute, how do people even know how many newspapers will sell on any given day? Is there a psychic in the printing press yelling,
"Print 28,437, but not one more"?
Or are they just guessing and hoping for the best? Well, today, we're following the trail of the Unsold newspaper. Where does it go? Who handles it? And more importantly, is your untouched crossword puzzle living a second life? As toilet paper? Let's find out. So, let's say your local kiosk ends the day with 10 unsold newspapers just sitting there, like leftovers no one wants to reheat. What happens now? Well, believe it or not, they don't just throw them in the trash and move on like,
Nobody saw it. Doesn't count.
Nope. There's a system. Every unsold newspaper gets counted, recorded, and returned like it's a sacred artifact. The kiosk guy has to make a list. Yes, an actual list of how many weren't sold. Then, when the delivery van comes the next day with fresh news, they collect the sad leftovers and take them back to the motherland, aka the distributor. So no, they don't just disappear. There's paperwork, there's protocol, and somewhere out there, there's a guy whose job is literally to count yesterday's news. Okay, so we know the unsold newspapers don't get tossed in the trash. They go back to the factory, their place of birth, their homeland, or their paperland. But hold on, that's not the end of their journey. You thought they'd just be recycled into boring things like egg cartons or toilet paper? Wrong! There's a plot twist, a dramatic ink-stained jailhouse twist, because sometimes those unsold newspapers end up in prison. Prison! Yes, you heard that right. Not because they committed a crime, not because they published bad horoscopes, but only because jails buy them. Yep. Correctional facilities often purchase unsold newspapers a few days after their release. Why? Because inside prison walls, the news is a bit delayed. You don't exactly get breaking updates between lunch and yard time. So, for inmates, reading about last Tuesday's scandal on a Friday is still premium content. Also, instead of being recycled right away, unsold newspapers are often given another chance. In animal shelters. Yup, they're used as bedding in cages, kennels, and boxes. Soft, absorbent, and let's be honest, cheaper than a trip to IKEA. But if you just imagined a group of puppies sitting around reading the headlines, you're wrong. Animals can't read, except maybe cats. They just pretend they can't. Nope. In shelters, newspapers serve a much more noble purpose: getting peed on. That's right. What once was front-page political drama now proudly absorbs a front-row stream of puppy pee. Truly a full-circle journey from media influence to media absorbance. Now, recycling is one thing. Animal shelters, sure, makes sense. But what if I told you some unsold newspapers go on to become movie stars? Yes, Hollywood, Broadway, Netflix, telenovelas, all powered at some point by yesterday's news. Because in creative and film productions, you can't just pause a scene to wait for real news. You need fake newspapers with fake headlines like "Mayor found trapped in vending machine." And guess what they use to print those fake papers? Real unsold newspapers. They slap a fake front page on top, and voila, your boring local weather report becomes part of a spy thriller set in 1972. And finally, yes, a good chunk of unsold newspapers do end up being recycled, shredded, soaked, reprocessed, reborn as something far less dramatic, like a cereal box, or toilet paper with a past. But there's one more honorable path worth mentioning, a place where newspapers go to truly express themselves, to fulfill their ultimate destiny: art class. That's right, a huge portion of unsold newspapers ends up in schools and kindergartens, where they're handed over to tiny humans who, let's be honest, can't even read yet. These kids don't care about politics, stock markets, or the tragic weather in London. Nope, they just want to cut your headlines into mustaches and glue them onto a paper plate. And there you have it! Are you surprised? Be honest, before this video, did you ever actually wonder where newspapers go when no one buys them? If you've been to prison, you probably have. Let us know in the comments, did any of these surprise you? Did you expect newspapers to become doggy carpets, jail entertainment, or arts and crafts supplies for glue-covered toddlers? And hey, if you learned anything new today or just enjoyed the ride, smash that subscribe button on the What We Know channel, and thanks a ton for watching. See you in the next one!